Hello and welcome to Heal Thyself, Benefits of Holistic Living. I'm your host, Mia Saenz, and in this segment with me is Bonnie Gayle, the founder and creator of Sex Better, or Sex Better, however you want to describe it. Bonnie is an amazing woman who also is very conscious about sexual wellness and body image. So we're going to have her hop right on. Bonnie, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Yay. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here. Also, will you share with us your journey? It's pretty powerful for those who haven't heard it. Why and how you came up with this wonderful organic lubricant moisturizer that helps not just in our private areas, our ladylike areas, or our men's genteel areas, but also we'll get into it later, but you can use it on other parts of your body because it's 100% organic and it's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And, the funny thing is my story is so different from what most people think. Most people are like, oh, this is what I wanted to do and I wanted to create this. And I was kind of living in the world of numbers, not thinking about anything. And when I hit 41, overnight, my body literally changed. Walking around became super, super painful. And just the thought of sex was excruciating. Any type of penetration or touch just sent me through the roof. And I started talking to people about it. Nobody had these issues that I knew. And I finally went to the doctor and found out that I had the beginning stages of vaginal atrophy. And I was told to have sex more often and use lube. And I was already kind of eating healthy, kind of into the world of health and wellness. So I started to investigate the ingredients and lubrication products, and I was like in shock. I mean, there was like no way I was putting this junk on my body. And so I ended up, meeting somebody who could help me create something that I would want to use on myself. And then I met a cancer survivor and shared some of the product that I had with her because of what she was going through, and realized that this is a product that a lot of women could use. And that's really kind of how Sex Better was born.
That's awesome. I love it. It's so genius. It really is. It's awesome.
Take lemons, make some lemonade. It's all good, right?
That's right. Exactly. There's so many questions about sexual wellness that we want to get into, but the first one that I want to ask you is, why is a healthy sexual relationship with ourselves or with a partner good for our body, good for our personality, good for us?
Well, orgasms are really good for people. I don't know if you know that, but arousal and orgasm, it's very healthy. I mean, it's great for your blood flow. It's great for your body movement. It helps you sleep. It's great. It increases your immunity. For anybody who has pain, having orgasms helps diminish pain. I mean, it's good for your health and your wellness. It is incredible for, now we're living longer and a lot more people are experiencing incontinence. And so being sexually healthy really helps to avoid incontinence too, which, is going to be a big issue going forward. So, I mean, there's so many reasons. Feeling comfortable with yourself, feeling happy, feeling vibrant, your skin, giving your skin a glow. All of these things are benefits of a positive, healthy sex life.
That's awesome. I know that you're absolutely right when you said gives your skin a healthy glow. It's really wonderful for all aspects. I love that. And your partner will too.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of the sexual health issues that are out there that you'd like to make us more aware of.
Okay, so one of the things, for instance, is sexual pain. Mm-hmm. And 15 to 30 million women are experiencing sexual pain, but only 3% talk about it to their doctors. Mm-hmm. And the biggest reason is shame. And sexual pain isn't just for old women. I think that there's this misnomer that only women that are kind of in menopause experience sexual pain, and that's not true. People having sex for the first time or, their beginning stages of their sex life experience pain. A lot of times when people are first in relationships having experiences with a new partner, they become very dry, and so you can experience sexual pain for that reason. Taking medications, having side effects of vaginal dryness could be a reason for sexual pain. And, then, going through cancer, chemo, people that have diabetes, medications from that. And then there is always the imbalance in hormones. So sexual pain is experienced by a lot of women, but people are afraid to talk about it. So it's not something to be ashamed of.
It's really rather until it becomes more public like this, it's really a lonely, sad place, because there's such a big importance rather than a fun importance. There's such a big importance around sex, and it identifies men with being virile and women with being a sex kitten and a real woman, when really those aspects have nothing to do with the sexual aspect. So it is kind of sad when we can't step forward and claim our information about ourselves.
Well, not only that, I think that people have to understand that, probably 99.9% of people are like not having sex like a porn star. I know that people watch porn and, there's a lot of excitement that people get from porn. But the thing is that porn is not really real in the majority of sex lives. You're not jumping around in all those kinds of positions and arching your back, to those extremes and doing all of those crazy antics that a lot of times you see in porn. Mm-hmm. So we're comparing ourselves once again to something that's not real.
Right. And also porn stars don't live that way in their normal life, most of them.
Right. Exactly.
It's only for the cameras. Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about, you brought up about when you were looking at lubrications, when your doctor said to, let's talk about toxicity that you found in lubrications and other places that we find toxicities that would enter the vaginal canal or be placed on a male penis.
Okay. So the first thing is lubrication, and there are so many different ingredients, but the first one I want to talk about that's a big one is anything that has the word paraben in it. And it's usually going to say methyl or ethyl paraben. Parabens have been known to cause cancer. They create allergies, and they really affect your immune system in a toxic way. So you don't want to use anything that has the word paraben in it. The second biggie that in my mind is propylene glycol, which you will find in a ton of cosmetics, which is really sad to me. They use propylene glycol to clean jetline planes. It's been known to cause cancer, for reproductive toxicity, allergies, affecting your immune system, causing irritation and burning. And, one of the main lubes that people know about, Astroglide, contains propylene glycol. So it's not something that it's hard to find. The problem is that it's in things that you find at your drugstore that you might think are otherwise okay. Mm-hmm. Some of the other things that are terrible are sweeteners like aspartame and sorbitol. They have some very interesting side effects. Aspartame can cause weight gain, fatigue, rashes, dizziness, and it turns into formaldehyde in your system. So that's not something that's good. And with sorbitol, which is a sweetener sometimes found instead of sugar, that can cause cramping and diarrhea. Like all of these things, it's like, who would want these things in your sex life? And the thing that we have to understand about our vaginas, it's the biggest mucous membrane in our system. But the biggest thing about it is that, when we eat foods that have toxic things in them, those things go through filtering systems like our liver and our kidneys. When you put something in your vagina, there is no filtering system. So you are absorbing it all in there, and there's nothing that's filtering it out, so those are really horrible. Another thing that's a biggie is petroleum oils. You don't want to be using like baby oil or Crisco oil in your body. It does not allow your skin to breathe, and that can be really toxic for the vaginal area.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought up a lot of that stuff, because especially the mucus being our largest mucous membrane for in women. Men are built differently, but people don't realize that how, it's a cavern and it's open and it goes up inside, and it's thank you for bringing that up. It's very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
So not just lubrication has toxicity in it, also sex toys do too. Share with us about that.
Yes. Okay, so we are now hearing about PVC plastics, which have phthalates in them that are toxic. So when in relationship to sex toys, one of the things that you can think about is if a sex toy smells, then it's toxic. Like if you can smell a plasticky kind of smell, it's toxic. So you don't want to use anything that has any type of chemical smell. And, even if you wash the sex toy, you would still smell that smell. Mm-hmm. So that has nothing to do with it. Most soft see-through dildos are made with toxic plastic. So you definitely don't want to use like see-through dildos. It's made with something called an elastomer, and those things are not safe because of the phthalates in them. And then when you buy cheap dildos, let's get back here. You get what you pay for, so don't buy cheap dildos because those are going to be made with plastics that are toxic. Mm-hmm. And you really just don't want to do that. And most jelly, like anything that feels like jelly, it may feel good, but most of those are toxic. So you really want to try not to use that kind of stuff either.
Okay, great. Glass is good. You can boil those.
Glass is good. Anything with 100% medical grade silicone is great also. Mm-hmm. So, those are two things. And then on rare occasion, you'll see like things that are made of wood that are all natural. You can use those too, but those are not so easy to find. The glass and the silicone are more popular.
It's funny because when you were saying wood, I just all of a sudden got the giggles because this all doesn't sound organic enough for us, even though wood's organic and that kind of stuff. It sounds a little bit like woohoo, So, all right. So let's talk. I want to bring us back a little bit again to, in the beginning, you were talking about sexual pain and how some people first starting out in sex, they experience this. I know that when women don't have sex enough or frequent enough, they experience sexual pain as well. Mm-hmm. Why does this happen to women? Do you know why this happens? Why it's a conditioning that, is it to make us virginal? Bring us back to being virgin?
Okay, so most of the time, like when people are not, it comes back to that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Mm-hmm. That's really kind of what it comes back to is like, our vagina is made of muscles and we also have like a protective lining there. And, if we're not using things and eating healthy, a lot of times what happens is we start to get dry and the vaginal lining starts to go out of balance. The pH balance in the vagina changes. And so when we don't keep our vagina in a good spot, things like that happen. And, it's happening to young people too. We're eating toxic things. It is changing our body chemistry. Mm-hmm. So if the vaginal lining thins or if the pH balance goes off, then it's going to affect how the vagina insides feel. And not all sexual pain feels the same way. Mm-hmm. So some of the ways that, you can feel sexual pain, like some people feel a burning sensation. Some people feel itching. Some people feel stinging. Other people, it feels like a razor is like cutting into you, like really very sharp pain, and then other people feel like this rawness, like just inflamed rawness. So there's like different ways that you can feel. And, since we're talking sexual pain, did you know that you could be allergic to your partner?
Yes, I was to my husband.
Okay.
My first husband, yes.
So that's when his acidity levels of his semen are too acidic mm-hmm. for your vagina, and that can also cause like an itching, burning sensation.
And burning and uncomfort for hours upon hours upon hours, yeah. It's very interesting. And before we get into something else, I wanted to ask all of you, how many of you started doing your Kegel exercises when she was saying we're muscular down there? I was like, whoa, okay. That's very funny. It's interesting that we're not always compatible with somebody that we're married to, that we have children with. What are some ways besides wearing like a condom? What would be some ways to get two people in pH balance alignment? Is that something that couples do?
I don't know if couples do it, but I mean, I know that, the food that you eat affects your pH levels. It does. If you have an alkaline body or you're mostly eating alkaline, you can actually change, the acidic levels, let's say as a male of your sperm. And, as a female, by eating differently and not eating a lot of toxic food, you can change your pH levels of your vagina as well. The other thing is you can use things that pH balance the area as a female. So for instance, I mean, of course, I recommend sex butter because I know that the oils and the ingredients in sex butter, which are all plant-based oils, actually pH balance whatever area you apply it to. So if you apply it topically, if you use it outside on your skin, it pH balances that area, which is a different pH balance than inside your vagina. And so it pH balances the area too. So like just using a little bit as a vaginal moisturizer every day is one way that you can help pH balance your vagina too.
Now, if you don't need a lubrication, should you still use it to balance yourself? Because some women are naturally moist or...
yeah.
It's a laboratory going on down there.
Well, I'll tell you, it's so interesting. Like I always say, well, most people, okay, a lot of people need lubrication. Not everybody needs lubrication. But the thing that I love about it is that it really keeps the vaginal tissue hydrated. Well, I know sex butter does, not all lubrication does, because it actually seeps into the tissue and it makes it more malleable and it makes you feel good because it actually kind of gets you feeling like in the mood, even if you're not in the mood. I mean, I don't know about you, Mia, but sometimes my partner's ready to go and I'm just kind of like not feeling it. I'm just like not in the mood. It's like my head is somewhere else and it's like I just don't feel like it. And so I apply a little sex butter and 5 minutes later, I don't even have to do anything. I could just be walking around and 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, honey, I'm ready. Let's go play, Yeah. So, I mean, women are not always in the mood when you're in your head, and I'm in my head a lot, and I'm not in my body. It makes it more difficult to get into the mood.
It's so funny when you said, Mia, what about you? I'm thinking, I don't know if I've ever experienced that. But anyways, one other amazing thing that I wanted to bring up that I was thinking about when you were talking about orgasms is it does build our pelvic floor lining. It builds the muscles so that it really, really does help. And that's why it helps stop with the incontinence and stuff because it supports us. It makes it youthful again. And isn't that crazy how we age? Things start to move and shift whether we want it to or not.
Yeah, I know. And, your whole vagina can drop. But one of the things, I have a really good recommendation, actually, for pelvic floor exercises and, the Kegels is to use a jade egg. To walk around with a jade egg, it's an egg-shaped item made of jade that you insert into your vagina. And you literally have to squeeze your muscles to hold it in there unless you're so tight that it won't fall out. Right. And it's a really good way. Yeah, and it's a really good way because it actually helps build the vaginal lining and it helps you keep the muscles toned.
Yeah, last year I got Kegeloids which are egg-shaped. I would like to find the, like you said, the jade one because it's natural. And that was one thing I thought too. I don't know if I really want to use these to help build my muscles, but it's really, really important, especially as we get older. And especially if you've had children. It's another important thing. So what else do you want to share with us about sexual wellness?
I think that sexual wellness is a really important thing, and it's not really something that's talked about that much. But when you really feel good sexually, it really affects every area of your life. I mean, you feel alive, your skin glows. It's like, and you know what, your attraction factor, you know, whether it be to men, women, whether it's in business, whether it's friendships, whether it's trying to attract a man, you know, like if you're somebody who's kind of like sexually dead, how do you expect to attract a man who is like really going to kind of like be in their bodies and be sexually alive, you know? And I mean, that's ideally what you want, especially in the beginning of a relationship, you know, but you definitely want to be able to keep that going on. So the thing is that you have to feel sexually alive in order to attract that to you. And those are the kind of people that are creative, that inspire. And so you need to be that inspiration in order to inspire others. So you are, and you're going to attract who you are to you.
Another good thing about sexual wellness that I've been thinking a lot about lately is keeping your body in shape. The physical movements, you're walking, you're lifting weights, aerobics, everything like that. Because if you are a seductress type of a girl with your mate, even you get leg cramps if you're not used to doing your leg muscles or your squats or whatever, which will stop you, you know, in a few days from playing again because you're just like, instead of enjoying the pain going, you know, so.
Or you just get stopped in the moment while you're playing, you know, because your body cramps up, you know, and then you have to start all over again when you're not feeling that. And, you know, it can just kind of ruin the whole experience itself.
So it is really important to keep your physical being intact as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not only for that reason, but, you know, body image is such a huge issue. You know, 98% of women don't like something about themselves, and 80 to 90% really dislike a lot of things about themselves. And, you know, men love you for all your curves and your differences. Sorry. Sorry about that. Men love you for all of your curves and your differences. And the thing is that they really want to worship your body. So if you're like, you know, making it so that you have to have sex under the covers with, you know, in the black, pitch black dark, you know, it kind of takes away something for them from the whole experience too. So, you know, you got to think about the fact that, you know, your partner really loves you and wants to be with you, and he wants to share these experiences with you. And you want to get rid of some of that frigidity.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's a very, very good point. But also another really good point about being intimate with somebody is when you have the confidence about yourself, they don't care what you look like. You know,
no, not at all.
As long as you enjoy being with them, they'll love you for those moments, not for those moments, but I mean, they love you also in those times as well, and appreciate the fact that you're a rock star because you're confident about yourself.
Let me tell you, we are our own worst critics, not the people around us. It's us. So if we can get over that, then, you know, and not only that, when we're, you know, sitting there constantly criticizing ourselves, it's affecting everybody else, and it's uncomfortable for everybody else. So when we're out there being a rock star, feeling like a rock star, you know, those are the kind of people that we're going to attract around us too, you know, as people that are like that. And, you know how they say misery loves company. Well, you know, incredible people attract incredible people. So it's all about who you are being and who you're going to attract to you.
Very good point. Excellent point. So, Bonnie, you have a special gift for us. You want to share it?
Yes, I am going to be giving out 5 tips to increase your sexual health. And I'm going to do a video, and that video is going to show up at bonniegayle.com/sexual health.
And that'll be in the daily email, and also our credits are on at the end as well. So awesome. Those videos that you share are very amazing and powerful. So sexual wellness and body image can go hand in hand.
Absolutely. They definitely do.
All right, talk a little bit about that.
Well, okay, so, you know, when we feel shame, we tend to not take care of our sexual health because we kind of like put it to the side. We brush it to the side and we end up focusing on other things besides ourselves, besides our body, because we don't really want to think or feel or really pay a lot of attention to our body because we're so uncomfortable about how we look. You know, do you know how many women have never ever seen what their vagina looks like?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't even know what your vagina looks like. You don't even know what's going on down there. And do you think that you're really spending a lot of time taking care of it? No. That's what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel confident and comfortable in your body, you're making sure that your body down there is feeling comfortable and confident too, because you want to have the best sex of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm in my 50s, I'm having the best sex of my life. I did not start having the best sex of my life till I was about 40. And then when I was 41, I hit perimenopause. So then that life just, you know, became like excruciating. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I got my sex life back. And let me tell you, I'm really grateful because I was like concerned because that's not who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm. It's really important for women in their, as they get older, in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And even I hear women in their 70s still want to have and be active in their sex life with their husband or their partner, whatever it is. It's really important to us. I mean, it's almost life-changing. We'd almost rather leave our partners or our mates so that we don't lose that. That's the consensus I've gotten from women in their 50s and 60s so far from talking to, you know, groups of women. And it could be just that they're all excited to talk about how they want to have sex. But, you know, it's funny. At one point, the women were deemed as not being interested in sex. And that really is not true at all.
Well, it is true if you're having sexual pain, okay? Because just the thought of it becomes terrifying. If you can be relieved of the sexual pain or you don't have or experience sexual pain, I totally agree with you.
So again, we as women, we want to have sex. I mean, we don't want sexual pain and stuff, but we want to be intimate with our partners. And
right.
It's crazy because as men get older and lose their testosterone, they have less of an interest. It's funny because it seems like young girls who aren't really sexually active and older men should really be together, and older women and younger guys should really be together because that's where they light on fire is that zip zip. But I mean, also there are many amazing men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who their sexual prowess is still, you know, still very active.
Exactly. I mean, I think that, you know, it's really about keeping it up. It's
Mm-hmm.
really about using it. I mean, you know, you have young people that do not feel sexual desire because they don't do anything to be sexually active, even if they're by themselves, like they're not self-pleasuring, they're not masturbating, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that if you don't do that, your sexual desire will go away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to promote feeling sexual desire by making sure that, you know, you keep up your own pleasure plan of what feels good to you on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Having it be a part of your lifestyle.
Yep, absolutely.
And for those of you whose partners aren't on the same match as you, at least keep it in your essence or take care of yourself so that you don't lose your pelvic wall and you don't lose your desire to be sexy. There's something about a woman who has it all going on, and you'll know that she actually does have orgasms, and that's part of what makes her feel sexy. That's part of what makes her want to be fit and trim, because she's getting that she's getting the endorphins and everything that she needs, that she truly desires.
And you know what? And you don't have to be fit and trim. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about
fit and trim as in sex. I'm not fit.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, you don't have to be You know, and I think that that's a misnomer, like only skinny women want, you know, feel comfortable in bed, and that's not true.
No.
Sexually fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and about yourself, and about, yes, absolutely, your confidence, everything else. That's what I meant about fit and trim.
Okay, good.
But you know what? You know what also is kind of interesting about that? You brought it up, and then I talked differently about it. I see us as, I don't see that as, you know, weight being a problem, like you're saying. It's not. It's who we are. If we have extra baggage on us, then that's who we are. But we still have that right to enjoy ourselves.
Of course.
And a lot of people who have a little bit more weight, some of them are very, very, you know, passionate, where some, you know, some people might be having it in their head, our conversation about the skinny ones in bed getting it. No, that's not necessarily true, because a lot of them have their issues that are going on and they don't feel comfortable with themselves. So enjoy yourself.
Well, yes. And, you know, look, body image isn't a thin or fat issue. Mm-hmm. It's an internal issue about how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's not that. And I'm just saying that if you don't have positive body image, I'm not saying only skinny women, you know, have sex during the day, mm-hmm. in the daylight. But what I'm saying is that if you don't have positive body image, you're going to be one of those people, either you have to do it in the dark, or the lights have to be off, mm-hmm. or you're doing it under the covers where your partner's not seeing your body.
Right. The enjoyment's not there, right?
Right.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Bonnie. Guess what? We're out of time.
It's our time.
Yeah. Can you leave us with one of your last piece of juicy infos that you want to share with us?
I would say that the most important thing is to really understand that your vagina is a sexual, you know, it's an organ, it's a part of your body, that it's really important to maintain, because when it feels good, you feel good. And when it feels really bad, trust me, there's no way that you can feel good. Yeah. So just take care of yourself, and just try and use organic products and do healthy things so that you promote, you know, keeping it pH balanced.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Bonnie Gayle, for joining us.
Thank you.
It was awesome to have you. And thank you all. We'll see you in another segment. Bye.